Shalom, shalom. All praise to the Most High Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah Ba'Shem Harakakadash. Want to dive right into this satanic occultism or symbolism, if you will, same thing, that was just displayed at the White House, right? Just a few days ago. Now I'm going to just get right into it because there's several things that are taking place, right? So a lot of the Israelites and Hebrew people and all our people, right? I've stated this several times that, hey, start to maneuver, right? Your dinero, your coins, right? your pennies, if you will, around, right? Because we know this is the prophecy. This is what's coming. It's going to strike a lot of people. This is how they're going to get a lot of people to take that mark, that mark of the beast, that, you know, those Lay's potato chips in their hands, etc., right? And foreheads and all that. Well, this is what they're showing, right? So I'm going to just read this and I'm going to play a little bit, right? Revelation 6 and 5. And we had opened the third seal. I heard the third beast say, come and see, right? And lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. It's talking about Trump, right? Right? So it's talking about Trump. Think about the balances when you balance a checkbook. The balances when they have the Libra scale in the court systems, etc. This is why all these so-called supremacists or these people who think like him, they're at an all-time high right now. They got their heads poked out. You know, they think they, you know, they think, for lack of better words, they think they shit don't stink because, you know, Trump's their president, right? This is what's going on, right? So it's talking about that balance. Think about how the grocery stores and everything has gone up, right? That's called inflation. The Most High prophesied that. He said ancient Rome, right? He said the Western Roman Empire, right? So meaning the first kingdom, which was Greece and ancient Rome, they was gonna fall, and his last was gonna fall, but it was gonna start with the denarian, right? Dinero. You know, I say mucho dinero, the money, the coin, right? The dinero was the dollar for back in the day, right? So they used a coin called the dinero. Look that up. That's in the scriptures. That's what the Lord Yahweh Shah was talking about. Today it's called the dollar. That is finna fall. This is what I'm getting into. This is going to them switching over to this digital system, which, look, I believe even Elder Pastor Hard talked about this. Like, look, everybody's going to participate in the digital system, but it's going to come a point to where you're going to have to take that you know, mark of the beast, that micro C-hip, those Lay's potato chips, if you will, in your hand or in their forehead. You're going to have to get that to continue, right? So understand, when everything switch over, that's going to happen. But right now is when that inflation finna happen and that war finna start. That's why over 25% of the United States warships are off the southeastern seaboard of Florida towards Venezuela, South America. That's why they down there. Because Russia's down there, China's down there, Iran's down there. They're trying to, anyway, I'm going to get to that, right? Let me get right to verse 6. Let me get directly to it. Then I'll play a little bit of the video so you can see the symbolism. Revelation 6 and 6. And I've covered this before. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, that's the dinero, but today's dollar, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see, thou hurt not the oil and the wine. The oil and the wine represents the Israelites, but it's the Israelites who are keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, because that's the oil and wine. That's what that means. We can refer to Matthew chapter 25 to get that. I'm going to get there here in a second, right? He's saying, look, this inflation, these wars going to happen. Everyone, if you haven't heard nothing the Israelites have told you, we have told you for the last at least 60 days, 30 days to maneuver your denarians around. Move it. Just like Joseph when he was in Egypt. We didn't sit there and say, oh, yeah, the Most High going to take care of everything. No. We had to do works. If Joseph didn't store up wheat and barley and all that, some of the Israelites wouldn't have had no food. So you still have to move. You still got to be vigilant. That's why it says, look, we children of light. This stuff is not going to take us by surprise because we're able to see it right before it happens. So let me play a little bit of this. The dollar, look, it's done away with. I don't care. There's a lot of people out there saying, well, move all your money into a brokerage account. Look at the mindset of our people. You're going to take your money out of a bank, and then you're going to look right back to Esau and say, hold my money. You hold it again and put it in a brokerage account. It does not matter. You don't trust these people. Okay? So I'm going to play a little bit of that, and I'm going to get right into what's about to happen because they're putting it right in our face. All right? So hold on. You beheld the black horse, and he that sat on him with his trump had the pair of balances in his hand. Now watch, because you're going to see Esau's going to partner with Amalek. Amalek and Ishmael. And this Ishmael getting out the car. Cool. Y'all Google that, pull it up on your own time. Right? Look at the flags, look at the symbolism. Okay, cool. That's Ishmael getting out the car right now. Cool. Like the prophecy states, it's going to be Esau, Amalek, same thing. They're going to partner with Ishmael. Cool. So, the Federal Reserve, which is not owned by the government, they gave all of the banking systems worldwide until November the 22nd to switch over to this new digital system, which is going to usher in the mark of the beast. Right? So everyone, is going to participate. But so if you got your money, they're going to do away. You won't be able to, when they hit this switch, you will not be able to access your money. It's going to take a few days, maybe 4, maybe 5. But you're not going to have, I don't care if you got 300,000 in your bank account. You ain't going to have that when they hit that button. It's going to be forced where if you want to, you're going to have to go take that you're going to have to go get that, you're going to get that microchip. It is what it is. I was trying not to say that so they don't ding the platform, but it is what it is. Okay? So, like the Most High prophesies, Esau's first kingdom, which is Greece and ancient Rome, and his last kingdom, the dollar is going to fall, right? So in ancient Rome, first the denarius fell, then political Rome, right? Then civil war. So the dollar, so it's going to repeat itself. The dollar's going to fall, which they guaranteed that, what was it, November the 20-something? I ain't saying it's going to happen on that day, but that's when all the banks got to switch over. They're going to hit that plug any day that they want to after November 22nd. Any day. It could be next year. It could be 5 hours after that, 3 weeks, 4 months, 5 months, 2 years. They can hit that button anytime they want. So the dollar's going to fall, just like, look up ancient Rome. The dollar's going to fall. Then political Rome, meaning the presidential system, judicial system, right? Executive branch, all that's going to fall. Then civil war, because you know how these Edomites going to get when they can't access their money, they can't get to their money. They're going to look what they did on January 6th. It's going to be civil war, and then they were invaded. Then World War III. All this is prophecy. Okay, so this is what's going to happen. Look up the fall of, I don't know if you Google it or Google be lying sometimes, but do some research. Go to the bookstore, Barnes and Nobles, half-price books. Look up the fall of the Western Roman Empire, right? It started around 475, 476 AD, right? Look that up, right? And then when they came back into power, that's when the ancient Rome and Greece fell. When they came back into power, it was around the 1500s here in Babylon and in the UK. It was around like 1550, somewhere up in there. Okay? So, with that said, this is what you're seeing. Now, this was just this week here in Babylon, America. Now, I covered Revelation chapter 6, verse 6. Okay? When it talks about, in the middle of it, a measure of wheat for a penny and 3 measures of barley for a penny, it's saying 1 plate of food. I've done this breakdown several times. 1 plate of food is going to be a 1 week's pay. So you know how some of y'all eat Some of y'all eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, right? Some of y'all eat breakfast, lunch, dinner. One plate of food is going to be a week's pay. Average person makes what, about $540 a week? Just average number, $540 a week. That's how much it's going to be, because the dollar's going to crash, and you're going to have these new digital coins, which is crypto, right? It's going to be crypto. It's going to be stellar lumens. They put all this in our faces, and I'm going to show it to you. Crypto, stellar lumens, Ripple, XRP, ecstasy, XC. It's these different. They've put it in our face. Right? You know how some worldly people, if you will, they say, well, the law of nature, they have to tell us so they won't have karma. They have told us. Remember, Satan, like the scripture says, Satan at the end gonna try to say, well, he's blameless. Why? I told them. I put it right in their cartoons. I put it right in their favorite TV shows. I put it right in their face. I told them. Now, it ain't gonna work, but that's how slick and cunning and deceitful these devils are. But I'm going to show it to you. This is why the prophets and the men of the Lord were back, so we can expose this stuff to you. Okay? So this was this week. November 22nd, I think that's what, Friday? That's their deadline to do this stuff. Matter of fact, Larry, I think I already have it for you so you don't have to do the work. There you go. Y'all see that? Okay. The deadline for the ISO, right? 2022 is November 25. Now that date is November 22nd, 2025. You see that? The final deadline, right? Mandating that all cross-border payment and reporting messages must, the word must. So when the Most High says you must obey your parents, you must do this. They must know pain. They must know judgment by pain after death. That means they must use this system. What it means after this date, right? Legacy Swift messages will no longer be supported for cross-border transactions. What that means is you ain't getting your direct deposit. Your Cash App, all that, PayPal, none of that's working. If your bank didn't switch over to this new platform as they mandated, you not getting your money. That's Charles Schwab, Fidelity Investments, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Chase. Even if you're in the United Kingdom, it does not matter what country you're in worldwide. Remember, Jacob's trouble in the market of the beast, it's going to be worldwide. This is what they have done. Worldwide. It does not matter. Okay? That's the importance of it. So you're going to have to move. So if you're trying to get ahead, I get into that later because I'm not trying to get into the crypto and all that, but it would behoove you, like Joseph, to store up some wheat, some barley, etc. Right? Let me show you that they've been showing this to us. Let me get into this. Watch this.
You think that this shit is a game?
This week.
This was just a new post from the White House. As you can see, the whole entire White House is all digital.
The dollar's gone.
And the title is Strengthening American Leader in Digital Financial Technology. Trump just told you that they're getting off the old financial rails and switching on to the cryptocurrency rails. So if the US dollar is switching to cryptocurrency rails, what does that tell you? The US dollar is no longer the US dollar anymore if it's getting transferred through new crypto technology digital rails. It's no longer the world reserve currency if it's getting transferred through new crypto technology rails. And who was the first body member of the new standard? Ripple.
Okay, so he said Ripple, right? That's what I just stated. Ripple, XRP, this. So what that means is your dollar is going to mean nothing. That goes back to this. Let me pause there. That goes back to Revelation 6 when it says a measure of wheat for a penny and 3 measures of barley for a penny. Penny, that means $1. It's not a penny as in a penny. Okay? That means $1, so it's going to shrink. If you got $10,000 in the bank, that's going to be like you got like $12.50. It ain't going to mean nothing. So most people, remember, they're going to make it to where most people in the world, most women are going to go take it. They're going to fold. Their children are going to be crying. They're going to go down there and take that chip. Why? Because they're hungry. Their children crying. They got to eat. Now I'm going to show you how they have always shown us this. Okay, so here we go. I just showed those two videos, right? And we're going to get into some more scriptures on this. Watch this very closely. I've showed this before, okay? Watch this very closely.
Plane has crashed into the World Trade
This is the very first Matrix. Let me slow that down. Let me slow that down. You see that? For those of you who know so-called crypto, look at the last letter in this word, right? In metacortex, that's the sign for what? Ripple. Matrix, look up the owner of the Matrix. The creator of the Matrix. She also created Terminator. She had visions and all that from the Lord, right? She said she got visions from the Lord Yahweh Shah, whoop the whoop. And she exposed this. Look at that symbol. That's the symbol for stellar lumens, right? Well, AKA Ripple, etc. That's how they're going to usher in the mark of the beast. Remember, even in the movie Matrix, people were taking the microchip in their hands. They're going to force people to do it, and most sheep, they're going to do it. So I wanted to slow this down. Hold on. XRP, see that? And look where he worked. See that? The cabal, because Trump is not real anyway. Look at that. Right. Remember, he brought this in. People need to understand what's really going on. Trump is the last ruler of Babylon. He's Nero, right? Caesar or Caesar, right? Go back in the scriptures. Remember, he said they would be regenerated. Think about Daniel, the iron and the clay. The ruler of Rome, see, a lot of people don't understand regeneration and or reincarnation. This is Nero Caesar who you're looking at. He's going to bring that back in. This is what happened. This is what's going on right now to this day, right? And look at that. I'm going to finish playing it. Okay, so y'all see that, right? I'm going to slow down. I'm going to show you some more stuff, right? That's Nero Caesar. Who's the inventor of the micro C-hip, the micro Lay's potato chip? His buddy, right? I'm just going through old posts that I've done, right? The Neuralink, right? Same thing. I just went back and kind of screenshotted things I've had already. Look at this, right? Donald Trump is the 47th president of the United States. But that's also Nero Caesar. So if we understand the scriptures, we understand what's going on. This is all this stuff. If people, when they say study to show thyself approved, remember, what was it, 59 AD? Yeah, 50. Well, it really started 54 AD, going into 69 AD, 70 AD when Jerusalem fell, etc. Right? This is him. Look at that photo. This is him regenerated. All this is in the scriptures. All of this is in the scriptures. Not only did they only put this in the matrix of what system they're going to use to usher in the mark of the beast. I've shown this one before. Y'all remember that movie, especially for the black folks. We used to watch, not the movie, the TV show back in the day, In Living Color. Y'all remember that? Now, how they fool people is wordplay. In Living Color, what's his name? Damon Wayans. He told us back then where to put our money. So those of you who got, and I've said it before, if you got you some whatever, XLM, crypto, Ripple, whatever, you take it off the market. So if you got it in, what are them sites? I don't know, Coinbase and crypto.com and Uphold, take it off, put it in a cold wallet. Stop letting these devils hold your money, because this is what's going to happen. Remember, the Most High says knowledge and wisdom, right, shall be stability. That's going to be our stability of the times. Stability means stable. Like that's what's going to make you stable. For those who, I'm okay, and they still out worrying about going out, getting some drinks, doing this. et cetera, et cetera. This gonna hit, it's gonna blindside them like crazy. This is what's coming. Okay? Matter of fact, let me go and show that real quick. Pay very close attention to
Said
this.
I want 100
Right.
shares of.
So pay attention. Let me rewind this. Listen.
Said I want 100 shares of Ripple. I want 100 shares of Ripple. Yeah, I know it's going down, but believe me, I know my Ripple, it'll be coming up real soon.
You see that? 1991. So people think, well, he talking about the Ripple, the old school drink we used to get at 7-Eleven and Stop and Go and all that. No. They've always known the system they're going to switch to. They've always had the micro chips, if you will. They've been planting them in celebrities. That's how they just fall flat. You see them on TV, they be talking and they just fall out. Brain aneurysm and all that. No, they've always put that in people they can control. Now they're going to put it in, well, attempt to put it in everybody. Only the elect is not going to take it. Only the elect. I almost can guarantee it, because like the scriptures say, if you're in a satanic Roman Catholic Christian church, you're going to take it. I don't care what you think your pastor say, what the planet pastor over there, what is it, 2815, 5816, whatever you call this church, man, he's an implant. Y'all who follow him, all y'all gonna take it. If you ain't serving the Most High, that's why it says only the elect is not gonna take it. When this stuff hit the fan, think about this. I think it's November the 22nd. When that happens, they can flip the switch at any moment. I'm not saying it's going to happen November 22nd at midnight. That's their deadline where they got to have the systems in place. That's every financial institution in the world. You're going to run into some people who are going to say, take your money out of a bank and put it in Charles Schwab, put it in Fidelity Investments. That's stupid. Take your money from one slave master and give it to another slave master. How does that sound? Take your money from Esau and give it to Amalek. Same person. You just switching wings on the bird, on the eagle. Okay? So I just saw that and I want to touch on it because, like I said, I've touched on it several times before. But look, that's what. Let me go back to this. I want people to read this and understand. This is what's coming. Look at your gas prices. Inflation has already hit. The price of eggs, food, water, shelter, gas, your gas and your gas bill, your light bill, your electricity bill, your water bill, everything's going up. But your salary not going up for your job, though. This is what's finna happen while everyone's being distracted by Black Friday and Thanksgiving Day, right? Thanksgiving Day, and you think all this stuff coming up, they're going to hit that switch like bam. Like the scriptures say, that third woe is going to come quickly, and it won't be nothing that you can do about it. So look, I've told people for a while, I think I said earlier, several weeks ago that, hey, by November 30th, I said, hey, y'all need to start moving y'all denarians, right? Moving y'all pennies out of their banks. Just let it sink in. Let me speak it like this. Hey, you go out there and you work in the field. You go out there and you pick the cotton, you pick the corn, you go in the sugarcane field. And when you done working, that person over there gonna give you money. When you get that money, you give that money to me. Let me hold it. And whenever you need some, I'll give it back to you. I promise. I pause for a reason. Let that sink in. Our people have become so institutionalized, right? Stockholm syndrome, that you go to work, you get your money, and you say, here, hold it for me. Are they your parent? That's what you do to your child. They go to their grandma's house, your grandma hand them a $100 bill. Here you go, baby. Here, $100. Good job making straight A's. What you do as a parent? Man, give me that $100. You're going to lose that. I'll hold it. I got it. Don't you end up... Some parents put it away, but most parents end up using it, paying for the water bill or something. What you think banks do? Let it sink in like that. The Most High said, never trust thine enemy. This is going to creep up on everyone.
You think that this
You understand? This is going to creep up on everyone. Be vigilant. Okay? Like he tells us to be vigilant. Our job is only to warn you. We've been doing it. Okay? And they deleting all of our posts. They deleting All of our posts off YouTube, they deleting them off Facebook, they deleting them off Instagram. Like we've went through and we've seen it. So look, it could be famine of the word, it could be this, but we've put the message out there for a while. Now I ain't telling people, go invest, go XRP this. This is where they're going. You cannot stop it because it's prophecy. They're going to switch to this. They even gave you the day they're switching to it. Earlier this week, some of y'all couldn't even log in and work. You couldn't make payments. You couldn't log into your bank. If you tried to buy something online, some of your payments got rejected. And everybody like, oh, what's going on? This is what's going on. So with that, hopefully you brothers, a few sisters have been edified. Shalom.